Welcome back to another ukulele tutorial. I'm Lara, and today I'm excited to share with you my latest original melody. This arrangement is on only the first two strings, strings A and E. This is a beautiful arrangement that starts off in the lower part of the neck. Then it moves to the middle part of the neck between frets 5 and 10, and back down to the lower part of the neck once again. So in addition to learning this beautiful melody, you'll gain practice with your right hand finger-picking skills and practice with your left hand navigating different parts of the neck. Now I'm going to play this melody for you as a demo, and then we'll walk through how to play it step by step. If you're enjoying this melody, please give this video a thumbs up and thank you for subscribing. If you'd like to see more original melodies like this, then let me know down below in the comments. During this lesson, you'll find the tabs on screen, and you can download them as a PDF from my Patreon page, along with my book of tabs and my songbook covering all of the tutorials that I've shared. You'll find the link down below in the video description. In case you're not familiar with how to read tabs, then I'll put a link above to my easy-to-follow lesson that will walk you through how to read tabs. Now let's get started with our tutorial. We're going to stay on strings 1 and 2 for this entire melody. For picking individual notes, I generally like to pick the second string with my thumb and the first string with my index finger. For picking both strings at the same time, I like to do this using my index finger on the second string and my middle finger on the first string. We're starting off measure 1 with our index and middle fingers on the 3rd fret of the first and second strings. We also have our ring finger on the 5th fret of the second string. We'll start by picking strings 2, 1, 1. Then we're going to pick string 2 again, lifting up our ring finger and playing a hammer-on back onto the 5th fret. If you're not yet comfortable with hammer-ons, then you can simply pick both notes. This goes for all of the hammer-ons that will come across in this melody, so feel free to pick the notes if you're not yet comfortable with the hammer-ons. Measure 2 is identical to measure 1. In measure 3, we're going to play strings 1 and 2 together 3 times. For the first time, we'll place our pinky down on the 5th fret of the first string. Then we'll lift up our ring finger and pinky and play both strings again on the 3rd fret. And now for the 3rd time picking these 2 strings together, we're going to move our index finger to the 2nd fret of the first string. When we pick strings 1 and 2, we're going to play a hammer-on with our middle finger onto the 3rd fret of the first string. Then in measure 4, we'll pick both open strings. Then we'll pick the open second string. Measure 5 is the same as measures 1 and 2. Measure 6 starts off the same way, playing strings 2, 1, 1, and then we go back to string 2. In measure 7, we're going to play both strings together 4 times. For the first time, we're placing our pinky down on the 5th fret of the 1st string. We'll pick strings 1 and 2 together on the 5th fret. Then we're going to lift up all of our fingers except for our middle finger. We'll keep it down on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. We're going to pick this one more time. And then we'll place our index finger down on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. In measure 8, we'll finish this phrase by picking strings 1 and 2 together, both open strings. To finish measure 8, we're moving up to the 5th fret to start our next musical phrase. Here I have my index and middle fingers on the 5th fret of both strings. We'll pick strings 2 and then 1, and then moving into measure 9, we're placing our pinky down on the 7th fret of the 1st string. We'll pick strings 1 and then 2. And then we're going to pick the 1st string twice. First on our 7th fret, and then lifting up our pinky to play the 5th fret. In measure 10, we have another hammer-on. This one is on the 2nd string, starting on the 5th fret, and hammering onto the 7th fret, using our ring finger. The next 6 notes through measure 11 are the same as the 6 notes from the end of measure 8 through measure 9. At the beginning of measure 12, we'll place our ring finger back on the 7th fret of the 2nd string. Then we'll pick strings 2 and 1. In measure 13, we're placing our pinky down on the 7th fret of the 1st string, and we're going to do a slide from the 7th fret up to the 10th fret. Then we'll pick the 10th fret, and then go back to the 7th fret with our ring finger, and then we have another hammer-on, starting with the 5th fret using our index finger, and hammering onto the 7th fret using our ring finger. Then we'll pick the 7th fret, and then we're going to place our middle finger on the 7th fret of the 2nd string and pick strings 2 and 1. Then in measure 15, we'll go to the 5th fret of the 2nd string, and then we're going to do a hammer-on from the 5th fret onto the 7th fret. Then we finish measure 15, picking the 5th fret, and measure 16 is the open 2nd string. To finish measure 16, we're going to play the open 2nd string and hammer on to the 3rd fret using our index finger. Measures 17 through 22 are the same as measures 1 through 6. In measure 23, we're going to play both strings together 5 times, starting by placing our pinky down on the 5th fret of the 1st string. So we'll play both strings 5th fret, then we're moving both fingers up to the 7th fret. Now back to 5, and then we'll move our index finger to the 2nd fret of the 1st string, and then we'll move up to the 3rd fret, and then our very last chord is both open strings. I hope you've enjoyed learning this beautiful melody on 2 strings. Have fun practicing, and thank you for watching.